Have you ever found yourself in a situation where everything seems to be falling apart? You see others around you staying calm, focused, and unwavering, while you feel overwhelmed, like you might collapse under the weight of it all. Have you ever wondered why some people stand strong in the face of adversity while others crumble under pressure? The difference, my friends, doesn't lie in their circumstances. It doesn't lie in their luck, their environment, or even their external resources. The difference lies in one powerful, but often overlooked factor: the power of the mind. We all experience challenges, be it in our personal lives, our careers, or our relationships. Life will always throw obstacles our way. But what truly determines whether we will rise above or succumb to them is how we perceive and react to those challenges. And that perception? It's shaped by our thoughts. In Buddhism, there is a saying, "What you think, you become." It sounds simple, but when you understand the depth of this teaching, it becomes life-changing. The mind is not just a passive observer of life's events. It is an active creator of our reality. Our thoughts shape our perceptions. Our perceptions shape our emotions. And our emotions shape the actions we take. And through our actions, we create the life we live. Think about it. How many times have you faced a challenge and immediately, before even assessing the situation, your mind jumped to conclusions? You feared the worst, anticipated failure, or believed that success was just out of reach. How often have you felt defeated? Not because the challenge was insurmountable, but because your mind had already convinced you that it was? The key to overcoming these challenges and transforming our reality lies in understanding how to master our thoughts. If we can control our minds, we can control our lives. And this, my friends, is where the wisdom of Buddhist philosophy comes in. Buddhism offers us a path that teaches us to cultivate inner strength, resilience, and self-control. These are not abstract concepts, but practical tools we can use every day to overcome obstacles and create a life of purpose and peace. Through Buddhist teachings, we learn to transform our mindset, turning adversity into opportunity and using every challenge as a stepping stone toward personal growth and enlightenment. But how do we do this? How do we shift our mindset when everything around us seems out of control? How do we transform our thoughts and harness their power to shape a life of peace, fulfillment, and success? In this video, we will delve into the profound wisdom of Buddhist philosophy and explore how it can help us navigate life's challenges. We'll uncover practical tools, ancient teachings, and timeless wisdom that can empower you to take control of your mind, strengthen your inner resilience, and create the life you've always wanted. So, if you're ready to discover the transformative power of your mind and learn how to live with purpose and peace, keep watching. The journey of transformation starts right here, right now. 1. Unlocking the power of the mind. In Buddhism, the mind is considered the root of all experiences. It is not merely the seat of thoughts and emotions but the origin of everything we encounter in life. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions arise from this single source. Just as the roots of a tree nourish and sustain its branches, so does the mind nourish and shape the entirety of our experience. Every moment of joy, sorrow, fear, or contentment is born from how we perceive and interpret the world through our minds. Imagine yourself at a fine dining restaurant, seated at a beautifully set table, eagerly awaiting a meal that you've been anticipating for days. The atmosphere is elegant, the lighting perfect, and your senses are awakened by the aroma of the food in the air. When the dish arrives, however, it doesn't quite match your expectations. The steak is slightly overcooked, the sauce isn't as generous as you had imagined, and the presentation feels a little off. Instantly, without thinking, your mind shifts to disappointment. Thoughts of dissatisfaction arise. Did I really pay for this? You wonder? Why didn't they get it right? In an instant, your mood changes, and your dining experience is overshadowed by these thoughts. But, here's the question. Is your reaction based on the reality of the dish? Or is it based on unrealistic expectations that were created in your mind long before the meal even arrived? This is where Buddhist teachings offer profound insight. Buddhism begins with the understanding that it is not the external world that shapes our emotions, but rather our perception of it. The events themselves, in their raw form, are neutral. It is our mind, shaped by previous experiences, beliefs, and expectations, that colors how we interpret what happens to us. If we view the world through a lens of negativity, then everything we encounter will be tainted by that view. We will find evidence to confirm our beliefs that things are wrong, unfair, or disappointing. On the other hand, if we choose to see the world through the lens of compassion and mindfulness, we begin to notice the opportunities, kindness, and growth present in every situation, even when things do not go as planned. Think about it. How many times have we allowed our minds to create a narrative that amplifies our discomfort? When things don't go as expected, we can choose to focus on what is wrong, or we can choose to pause and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? This subtle shift in perspective can change everything. It is not the external event that defines our experience, but how we choose to respond to it. This is one of the most powerful lessons Buddhism offers us. We may not be able to control the circumstances of our lives, but we always have control over how we respond to them. Our mind functions like a mirror. It does not reflect reality as it truly is. It reflects what we choose to focus on. If our mind is filled with negativity, it acts like a lens that distorts everything we see. We begin to notice flaws, faults, and imperfections. But if our mind is nurtured with mindfulness, compassion, and a deeper understanding of impermanence, then we start to see the beauty, the kindness, and the opportunities in life's imperfections. We begin to realize that even in moments of challenge, there is a chance for growth. The world does not change, we do. Our perspective changes, and with it, our experience of reality transforms. This is the essence of Buddhist practice, to train the mind so that it no longer reacts impulsively or automatically to the events that unfold around us. We learn to pause before responding, to observe our thoughts without judgment, and to direct our energy toward finding wisdom in every situation. By practicing mindfulness, we cultivate the ability to see life as it is, without the distortions created by our desires, fears, or expectations. This practice allows us to respond with clarity, calm, and a deeper sense of inner peace. And here lies the true power of the mind. It holds the key to shaping our reality. When we change the way we think, we change the way we experience the world. It is through this practice of mental discipline that we unlock the ability to transform our lives. A simple shift in perspective, asking, what can I learn from this, instead of, why is this happening to me, can lead to a profound transformation in our outlook on life. It shifts us from being victims of circumstance to active participants in our own growth and happiness. Buddhism teaches us that we are the creators of our own experience. While we cannot always control the external events of our lives, we can always control our response to them. This realization is liberating. It frees us from the idea that our happiness depends on external factors. And instead, it empowers us to find peace, joy, and meaning within ourselves. The key to unlocking the power of the mind lies in this simple yet profound truth. We are the architects of our own reality. The thoughts we hold, the perspectives we choose, and the way we respond to life's challenges are what ultimately define the quality of our lives. When we begin to embrace this wisdom, we discover that the mind is not something to be feared or controlled, but something to be understood and cultivated. By understanding the nature of the mind, we can begin to untangle the knots of negative thought patterns, release the grip of unhelpful habits, and create a life that is truly fulfilling. This is the path of mindfulness, a path that allows us to navigate life with greater awareness, peace, and wisdom. Through this practice, we not only unlock the power of the mind but also unlock the potential for a life of true happiness and liberation. In the end, the journey of transformation begins with the mind. As we cultivate mindfulness and self-awareness, we step into a new way of being, one that is guided by wisdom, compassion, and the understanding that we have the power to shape our own reality. 2. Transforming your mindset. In life, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. We find ourselves scrolling through social media or hearing about the successes of those around us, friends, colleagues, even strangers, and suddenly, doubts creep in. We see others thriving in their careers, living in beautiful homes, or traveling the world, and our minds instinctively say, they must be so lucky. Or worse, we think, I will never live a life like that. This is the scarcity mindset, a belief that success is limited. If someone else has more, then there must be less for us. We begin to believe that in order to have success, happiness, or love, someone else must sacrifice theirs. This thought, though subtle, quietly erodes our peace of mind and distorts our ability to truly appreciate the journey we are on. But imagine for a moment that you're sitting in a crowded cafe, enjoying a warm drink, when suddenly, the person next to you receives their coffee first. You might feel a flicker of frustration. Why did they get theirs before me? You think. It's easy to allow this small moment to affect your mood, to feel irritated over something as insignificant as the timing of a coffee order. But what if you chose to see it differently? What if, instead of thinking that their coffee arriving before yours somehow diminishes yours, you chose to think, their coffee arriving before mine doesn't take away from the joy I get from my own drink? In this moment, you recognize that just because someone else experiences something before you, it doesn't take away from your own experience. Life works the same way. Just because someone else's success seems to come faster, doesn't mean yours is any less valid or meaningful. The reality is that success, happiness, and opportunity are not finite resources. There is no limit to how much joy, love, or accomplishment can exist in the world. We are not competing for a fixed amount of success, nor are we racing against others to win in life. Instead, each of us has our unique path, one that may look different. And that's okay. The universe has an abundance of opportunities for everyone. It is this shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance that can completely transform our lives. Buddhist philosophy teaches us a simple but profound truth. Happiness doesn't come from external circumstances, from what we have or don't have. Happiness comes from how we choose to interpret those circumstances. It's not about avoiding difficulties, it's about seeing them through the lens of personal growth. Every obstacle, every setback, and every challenge presents an opportunity for us to learn, grow, and evolve into a better version of ourselves. When we approach life with this mindset, we begin to embrace challenges with open arms, knowing that they are part of our spiritual journey and our path to deeper wisdom. When we learn to practice mindfulness, we begin to see things as they truly are, not as our mind tells us they are. Mindfulness brings us back to the present moment, helping us break free from the cycle of comparison and self-doubt. We stop worrying about what others are doing and focus on what we are doing. In this space, we are free to appreciate our own progress, no matter how big or small, and to celebrate the unique journey we are on. But mindfulness alone is not enough. It takes consistent practice to shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. This is where affirmations and visualization come into play. Affirmations are simple, yet powerful statements we repeat to ourselves that help us shift our thoughts from negative to positive. When we affirm that we are worthy of success, abundance, and happiness, we begin to change the way we view ourselves and our potential. Instead of seeing the world as a place of competition, we begin to see it as a place of endless possibility, where there is more than enough for everyone. Visualization is another key practice. When we vividly imagine our success, when we picture ourselves achieving our goals and living the life we desire, our brains begin to align with that vision. The more we visualize, the more we believe that our success is possible. This is not just wishful thinking, it's about training our minds to focus on the outcomes we want, rather than the obstacles we fear. We begin to act in ways that are aligned with our vision, taking the steps necessary to bring that future into reality. By incorporating mindfulness, affirmations, and visualization into our daily lives, we begin to rewire our brains. We shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, from what we fear to what we can create. And this transformation is not just mental, it's physical and emotional as well. When we begin to think with abundance, we attract abundance. We open ourselves up to new possibilities, new opportunities, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. It's important to remember that this shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, one that requires patience, persistence, and self-compassion. But every time we catch ourselves slipping into the scarcity mindset, we can choose to pause, breathe, and shift our perspective. The more we practice, the easier it becomes to see the world through the lens of abundance, where there is room for everyone to succeed, grow, and thrive. In the end, it's not about competing with others, but about competing with ourselves, striving to be the best version of ourselves. Not in comparison to anyone else, but in alignment with our own values, goals, and potential. The beauty of this approach is that success becomes personal, not measured by how much we have compared to others, but by how much we have grown, how much we've learned, and how much we've given to the world around us. 3. Manifesting success through thought. As we continue to explore the transformative power of the mind, we arrive at one of the most profound teachings of Buddhism, the art of manifesting success through thought. In Buddhist practice, meditation and visualization are not merely tools for relaxation, they are essential practices for training and disciplining the mind. These practices help us focus our thoughts, clear our mental clutter, and ultimately align ourselves with the life we wish to create. Elite athletes understand the immense value of mental rehearsal. They spend hours visualizing their performance, imagining themselves succeeding in their chosen discipline. Whether it's scoring a goal, delivering a perfect routine, or crossing the finish line first, studies show that imagining a successful action can activate the same brain regions as physically performing that action. This fascinating connection between thought and action suggests that by mentally rehearsing success, we are preparing our minds to make that success a reality. It's not just about visualizing the end result, the victory, the accolades, the applause. Visualization in Buddhism goes deeper. It's about seeing the journey, understanding that obstacles will inevitably arise, and preparing ourselves mentally for those challenges. Successful people don't just visualize victory, they also visualize the hurdles they will face along the way. They mentally prepare for the difficult moments, the failures, and the moments of doubt. This is not an act of pessimism but of realism. By expecting challenges and accepting that they are part of the process, we train our minds to approach obstacles with resilience and grace. It's in the face of setbacks that true strength is forged. The act of visualizing obstacles allows us to navigate them with calm and confidence, instead of being overwhelmed or discouraged. In the context of Buddhist philosophy, this process of visualization is not just about manifesting external success, it is a deeper practice of mental discipline. Buddhism teaches us that the mind is a powerful force, capable of shaping our reality. Through mindfulness, we learn to cultivate an awareness of our thoughts and emotions. We begin to notice how easily our minds wander, how often we are led by distractions, fears, and old habits. The practice of mindfulness helps us regain control, allowing us to focus on the present moment and direct our energy toward our goals with clarity and intention. The true power of visualization lies in its ability to align the mind and body. When we visualize our success in vivid detail, we are not just imagining a distant goal, but we are programming our subconscious to work toward that goal. We imagine ourselves acting with confidence, making decisions with clarity, and responding to challenges with wisdom. Over time, this mental rehearsal becomes part of our daily life. Our thoughts, actions, and behaviors begin to reflect the vision we've cultivated in our minds. It's as though we are walking in the direction of our goals, step by step, with each thought aligning with our desires. But mindfulness is not just about focusing on the positive aspects of our journey. It's about cultivating awareness of our entire experience, the successes, the failures, the triumphs, and the setbacks. In Buddhist practice, we learn that everything is impermanent, and nothing is guaranteed. Success is not something we achieve once and for all, it is a continuous journey of growth, learning, and adaptation. By maintaining a mindful attitude, we remain open to change, flexible in our approach, and ready to embrace whatever comes our way. The act of visualization is powerful because it encourages us to visualize the steps toward success, not just the outcome. It reminds us that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. In Buddhism, we call this the path, the process of walking with awareness and intention. Not rushing to reach a particular endpoint but fully immersing ourselves in the present moment. Visualization becomes an integral part of this path. It helps us focus not on what we lack, but on what we are capable of achieving. It shifts our mindset from one of limitation to one of infinite possibility. Through the practice of meditation, we develop the mental clarity needed to see our goals clearly and the emotional resilience needed to pursue them with steadfast determination. Meditation helps us observe the fluctuations of the mind, the distractions, the doubts, the fears, and allows us to create space between our thoughts and reactions. This space is where true power lies. It is where we can consciously choose to think thoughts that support our goals, rather than ones that hold us back. It is in this space that we can align our minds with the energy of success and manifest the life we desire. Visualization also has a profound effect on our emotions. When we imagine ourselves succeeding, we naturally experience positive emotions, confidence, joy, satisfaction, and peace. These positive emotions not only boost our mental state but also influence our actions. When we feel confident, we take decisive steps forward. When we feel joyous, we attract positive circumstances. Emotions are powerful catalysts for action, and visualization is a tool that can shape our emotional state to work in harmony with our goals. The key is consistency. Just as a physical athlete practices their sport regularly, we must commit to training our minds every day. Visualization, combined with mindfulness and meditation, becomes a daily practice, a way of life that continually strengthens our mental clarity, emotional resilience, and focus. With each passing day, we grow closer to our goals, not through sheer force of will, but through a gentle, intentional alignment of our thoughts, actions, and emotions. In the end, manifesting success through thought is not just about achieving external results, it is about cultivating a mindset of abundance, resilience, and growth. It is about understanding that success is not a destination but a journey, and that the path itself is filled with opportunities for learning and transformation. By visualizing success and preparing for challenges with mindfulness and mental discipline, we not only achieve our goals, but we also grow into the people we were always meant to be. Through this practice, we align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe, creating a life that is not just successful, but meaningful, fulfilling, and peaceful. 4. Mastering emotions. As we continue our journey toward mastering the mind, we now turn our attention to one of the most powerful forces in our lives, our emotions. Emotions, like waves on the ocean, are ever-changing, constantly rising and falling. Yet, in Buddhist philosophy, the key to inner peace is not found in eliminating emotions altogether, but in learning how to master them. It is not about suppressing or denying our feelings, but rather about developing the wisdom and awareness to navigate them skillfully. When we face difficult situations, whether it's getting stuck in traffic, having a disagreement with someone, or receiving criticism, our emotions can easily take control. Anger, frustration, fear, and sadness can arise in an instant. In these moments, it's natural to feel overwhelmed, as if we are at the mercy of our emotions. But Buddhism teaches us that we always have a choice. We don't have to be slaves to our emotional reactions. We can step back and observe our feelings without immediately acting on them. In these moments of emotional intensity, there is an opportunity to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being present and fully aware of what is happening in our mind and body without judgment. When we notice a negative emotion arising, mindfulness allows us to pause and simply observe it. We don't have to react. We don't have to indulge in the feeling. And we don't have to let it dictate our actions. Instead, we can recognize the emotion for what it is, just a passing wave in the ocean of our consciousness. By observing our emotions without attachment, we create the space to respond thoughtfully, rather than impulsively. Buddhism encourages us to ask ourselves a simple yet powerful question: will this matter a week from now? This question shifts our perspective and helps dissolve the intensity of our emotions. In the heat of the moment, it can be easy to feel as though the situation is urgent or catastrophic. But when we step back and consider the long-term impact of our feelings, we often realize that the frustration we feel in the present is fleeting. The traffic jam we're stuck in or the disagreement we're having may seem monumental right now. But in the grand scheme of things, it is just a temporary moment. This recognition creates space for a more balanced response, where we can choose to let go of the emotional charge and regain our composure. This practice of observing our emotions without judgment is not easy. Our natural instinct is often to react, to give in to the emotional pull. But just as we practice mindfulness with our thoughts, we must also practice mindfulness with our emotions. Over time, as we deepen our meditation practice and strengthen our mindfulness, we begin to develop the skill to respond to life's challenges with composure. Instead of being swept away by the current of our emotions, we learn to stand firm, like a tree rooted deeply in the ground, swaying with the wind but never uprooted. In moments of emotional turmoil, meditation becomes a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace. Meditation allows us to quiet the mind and connect with the present moment, creating a sense of calm and clarity. Through regular meditation, we learn to recognize the subtle patterns of our emotions, the triggers that set them off, the stories we tell ourselves that fuel them, and the habitual responses we have to certain situations. Meditation helps us see these patterns clearly, so we are no longer controlled by them. Instead, we can begin to make conscious choices about how we respond. Mindfulness and meditation teach us that emotions are not inherently good or bad. They are simply a part of being human. Every emotion, whether it's joy, anger, fear, or sadness, carries a message. Emotions are like signals that point us toward what matters to us. They arise to draw our attention to something that requires our awareness. Anger, for example, might signal that we feel disrespected or that our boundaries have been crossed. Fear might point to a need for safety or a desire for control. Sadness could indicate a sense of loss or unfulfilled expectations. By tuning in to these emotional signals without judgment, we can learn to understand the deeper message they carry. This awareness allows us to respond with clarity and compassion, rather than reacting out of habit or impulse. Instead of lashing out in anger or retreating in fear, we can take a step back and ask ourselves, what is this emotion trying to tell me? How can I respond in a way that is aligned with my values and my goals? This is the essence of emotional mastery, the ability to choose how we respond to our emotions. Rather than being controlled by them, it is not about suppressing our feelings, but about acknowledging them, understanding them, and allowing them to inform our actions in a mindful and intentional way. As we practice mindfulness and meditation, we begin to notice a shift in how we relate to our emotions. They no longer control us in the same way. We become more resilient in the face of adversity, able to navigate difficult emotions with grace and wisdom. Instead of being swept away by the storm, we learn to find stillness in the midst of it. And in this stillness, we discover a deep sense of inner peace, a peace that comes not from avoiding emotions, but from embracing them with understanding and compassion. The ability to master our emotions is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. It is a path that leads to greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. By learning to observe our emotions without judgment, by practicing mindfulness and meditation, we free ourselves from the grip of negative emotions and create the space for a more balanced, harmonious life. In this space, we are no longer slaves to our emotions. Instead, we become the masters of them, able to respond with clarity, understanding, and compassion to whatever life may bring. 5. Building resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding hardships. It is not about running from difficulty or pretending that challenges do not exist. Instead, resilience is the ability to face adversity with the right mindset, to confront life's storms with a sense of calm and determination. In Buddhist philosophy, resilience is deeply connected to the understanding of the impermanent nature of life. Everything, our happiness, our pain, our success, and our failure, is in a constant state of change. Once we accept that nothing is permanent, we begin to see that every hardship is not a barrier, but an opportunity for growth. Imagine, for a moment, a Buddhist monk who has dedicated his life to meditation and mindfulness. Throughout his journey, he encounters many difficulties. Perhaps he faces illness, a lack of resources, or the challenges of living a simple life. In these moments, the monk doesn't see his difficulties as insurmountable obstacles. Instead, he understands that each challenge is part of the ebb and flow of life. He embraces these challenges, not as burdens, but as opportunities to develop patience, wisdom, and compassion. The monk knows that resilience does not come from avoiding difficulty, but from facing it with an open heart and a calm mind. Through every hardship, he learns something new about himself and the world around him, ultimately growing stronger in his practice. Buddhism teaches us that resilience is built not through force or resistance but through acceptance and awareness. By accepting the impermanence of life, we free ourselves from the fear of suffering. Instead of viewing life's challenges as unfair or punitive, we begin to see them as opportunities for personal and spiritual development. Challenges become the soil in which the seeds of patience, wisdom, and compassion are nurtured. The more we face adversity with this mindset, the more resilient we become. For example, when faced with a difficult situation, we can choose to approach it with mindfulness, rather than allowing our emotions to control us. Mindfulness invites us to step back and observe the situation from a place of clarity. When we experience pain or frustration, we can observe those feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. This practice of observation allows us to detach from the intensity of our emotions, giving us the space to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. In those moments, resilience grows, not because the challenge is gone, but because we have learned to approach it with patience and understanding. Patience is a cornerstone of resilience in Buddhism. It is the understanding that things unfold in their own time. We cannot force growth, nor can we speed up life's natural rhythm. The more we practice patience, the more we understand that difficulties are not obstacles to our peace, they are part of the journey. Through patience, we learn to accept that life does not always follow our plans. Instead of resisting what we cannot control, we begin to work with the flow of life, trusting that the wisdom we gain through patience will lead us to deeper peace. Similarly, resilience is not just about enduring suffering, but about transforming it. Buddhism teaches us that suffering is an inherent part of life. It is inevitable, yet it is also temporary. When we encounter suffering, we are given an opportunity to grow in ways that would not be possible in times of ease. Each moment of discomfort, whether physical, emotional, or mental, offers us a chance to deepen our understanding of ourselves. In those moments, we can either turn inward with bitterness and self-pity or open ourselves up with compassion and curiosity. The choice is ours, and the more we choose compassion, the more resilient we become. In facing challenges with this approach, we can also find great wisdom. Sometimes, the answers we seek or the growth we desire can only come from experiencing hardship. Buddhism teaches that true strength comes not from avoiding the storms of life but from weathering them with grace. As we face life's difficulties, we begin to see that they are not here to break us, but to shape us. Each challenge is an invitation to deepen our understanding, expand our capacity for compassion, and refine our resilience. A growth mindset is crucial in developing resilience. Instead of viewing difficulties as setbacks, we can choose to see them as opportunities to learn and evolve. When we adopt a growth mindset, we no longer see challenges as signs of failure but as stepping stones to wisdom. For example, when faced with a setback at work, we can choose to see it as a lesson. What can we learn from this experience? How can we grow from it? This mindset shift allows us to face challenges with a sense of purpose and curiosity rather than fear or frustration. Through the practice of mindfulness, patience, and understanding, we learn that resilience is not a trait we are born with, but something we can cultivate. It is a way of approaching life with an open heart and a clear mind, knowing that every challenge, no matter how difficult, holds within it the potential for growth. As we build resilience, we become more capable of navigating life's ups and downs with grace and wisdom, and more confident in our ability to meet whatever comes our way. In Buddhism, resilience is ultimately about embracing the full spectrum of life, the highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows, with an open mind and heart. When we learn to accept life as it is, without clinging to the good or resisting the bad, we free ourselves to grow. In this freedom, we find true strength, not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with calm, patience, and an unwavering commitment to our spiritual growth. 6. Practical tools for change. Buddhist philosophy offers far more than abstract teachings. It provides us with practical tools that can transform our daily lives. These tools are not meant to remain theoretical concepts to ponder, but practical steps we can take to change the way we think, feel, and act. One of the most powerful tools in Buddhism is mindfulness. It is through mindfulness that we become more attuned to the present moment, more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. This awareness allows us to step out of the automatic reactions that shape much of our lives and consciously choose how we want to respond. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to become disconnected from the present moment. We often rush through life, focusing on the past or worrying about the future, leaving little room to truly experience what is happening right in front of us. But by practicing mindfulness, we begin to reconnect with the here and now. When we are mindful, we are fully engaged with whatever we are doing, whether it's eating, walking, listening to someone speak, or even just sitting in silence. This level of awareness gives us the space to notice our thoughts and emotions as they arise, without getting caught up in them. And in this space, we gain the freedom to choose how we respond, rather than reacting impulsively based on old patterns. Starting with small, Intentional practices is the key to incorporating mindfulness into your life. One of the simplest yet most impactful ways to begin is by setting aside just 5 minutes each morning for meditation. In those 5 minutes, you can focus on your breath, letting go of the distractions of the day ahead, and simply be present with yourself. As you breathe, you can set an intention for the day. Perhaps it's an intention to stay calm, to be compassionate, or to approach challenges with an open mind. This simple practice helps center your mind and prepares you for the day with a clear, focused purpose. In addition to meditation, another powerful tool for cultivating mindfulness is gratitude. Taking a moment each evening to reflect on 3 things you are grateful for is a practice that shifts your focus from what is lacking in your life to what is already abundant. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or the peaceful moments of the day. Writing down these small blessings each night helps rewire your brain, shifting it from negativity to appreciation. Over time, this practice deepens your sense of peace and contentment, allowing you to notice the positive aspects of life even in the midst of challenges. Mindfulness and gratitude are transformative practices. But there is another tool in Buddhism that is equally powerful: visualization. Visualization is the practice of vividly imagining yourself succeeding in a particular situation. It might sound like wishful thinking, but research has shown that mental imagery activates the same brain regions as actually performing the action. This means that by visualizing success, you are training your mind to handle situations with confidence and clarity, even before you step into them. For instance, before an important meeting, presentation, or any event that makes you nervous, take a moment to close your eyes and visualize the entire process. Picture yourself walking into the room with confidence, shaking hands with others, speaking clearly, and feeling calm. Visualize the outcome you desire, a successful interaction, a positive result. By doing so, you prepare your mind to respond to the actual event with a sense of assurance, because you have already mentally rehearsed it. This practice helps calm your nerves, boosts your confidence, and allows you to approach the situation with a sense of purpose. Visualization also works in the long term, helping you align your actions with your desired goals. Imagine that you want to develop the resilience to face difficult situations with calmness and wisdom. By visualizing yourself handling stress in a composed and thoughtful way, you gradually begin to develop the habits and attitudes necessary to act this way in real life. The more you visualize positive outcomes, the more likely your mind will begin to expect success and work toward it. These tools, mindfulness, gratitude, and visualization, are all interconnected. Mindfulness creates the awareness that allows us to notice the patterns of thought and emotion that may be limiting us. Gratitude shifts our focus to what we already have, cultivating a sense of abundance and peace. Visualization trains the mind to expect success and helps us prepare for challenges with confidence. Together, these practices create a powerful foundation for transforming our lives. However, the key to making these practices truly effective lies in consistency. It's not about a single moment of mindfulness or a brief visualization session. It's about integrating these practices into your daily routine. The more consistently we practice mindfulness, the more naturally it becomes to stay present in the moment, to respond with clarity and compassion, and to notice when we are slipping into old patterns. Similarly, the more regularly we practice gratitude, the more attuned we become to the abundance in our lives. And the more often we visualize success, the more our minds are conditioned to expect and create positive outcomes. As you begin to incorporate these tools into your life, remember that transformation takes time. It's not about expecting immediate results, but about being patient with the process. Each small moment of mindfulness, each act of gratitude, and each visualization is a step toward creating a life that aligns with your deepest values and desires. In Buddhism, it's not the big leaps that matter most, but the small, consistent steps that lead to lasting change. Through these practices, you begin to reshape your mind and your life. You develop the mental clarity to see challenges as opportunities, the emotional resilience to face setbacks with calmness, and the inner peace to navigate life's complexities with grace. And as you do, you not only transform yourself but also inspire those around you to do the same. By practicing these simple tools, you create a ripple effect of positivity, resilience, and peace that extends far beyond yourself. 7. Overcoming challenges and setting goals. In Buddhism, challenges are not seen as obstacles to be feared or avoided, but rather as opportunities to deepen our understanding and grow. Life is a series of experiences, some joyful, some painful, but all serving as teachers if we are open to their lessons. When we encounter difficulties, the key is to shift our mindset. Rather than viewing setbacks as failures or signs of defeat, we can choose to see them as lessons, rich with opportunities for growth. Each challenge that life presents us is a chance to practice patience, cultivate wisdom, and strengthen our perseverance. This shift in perspective is what allows us to transform even the most difficult situations into stepping stones on our journey towards spiritual development and personal fulfillment. Imagine you are facing a difficult situation, a job loss, a relationship challenge, or perhaps a health issue. In these moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and discouraged. Our minds naturally want to resist change, and when things don't go as planned, we often view it as a failure. However, Buddhism teaches us that this is precisely where the opportunity lies. When we encounter a setback, it's not the setback itself that determines our growth, but how we choose to respond to it. The challenge becomes a teacher, offering us the chance to practice mindfulness and stay rooted in the present moment. Rather than succumbing to fear or frustration, it is in these moments of difficulty that our true strength is revealed, our ability to remain calm, composed, and focused on the lessons at hand. When we approach challenges with the right mindset, we begin to see them as opportunities to refine our character, deepen our practice, and gain valuable insight. This process of facing difficulties with an open heart and clear mind is where resilience is born. By choosing to view adversity as a chance for growth, we transform our relationship with life itself. Instead of running from discomfort or resisting hardship, we embrace them as integral parts of the human experience, each offering a unique opportunity to grow wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. Setting goals is another area where Buddhism offers valuable guidance. In the pursuit of our desires, it is important to ensure that our goals are aligned with our deeper values. In a world that often equates success with material wealth, external achievements, or status, it's easy to become distracted by what others expect of us or by societal pressures. However, Buddhism teaches us that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from the accolades we receive or the possessions we accumulate. When we set goals that reflect our core values, we are more likely to stay motivated and find lasting satisfaction, rather than the fleeting sense of achievement that external success can bring. For example, consider a Buddhist practitioner who faces a difficult situation, such as losing a job or experiencing a health issue. In this moment, it might be easy for them to feel lost or hopeless. But instead of succumbing to despair, they choose to use this challenge as an opportunity to reflect on their deeper values. Rather than rushing to find a new job simply for the sake of financial security or status, they might take the time to reflect on what truly matters to them, whether it's a career that aligns with their passions, a lifestyle that supports their well-being, or a purpose that brings them fulfillment. In doing so, they set a goal not just for external success but for a life that is deeply aligned with their authentic self. This allows them to approach the situation with clarity and purpose, rather than feeling overwhelmed by external expectations or pressures. In Buddhism, the path to true fulfillment is not found in the pursuit of external goals but in the cultivation of inner peace and wisdom. When we set goals that are grounded in our values, we create a roadmap that leads to a life of contentment and peace, rather than one driven by the endless chase for more. These goals help us stay connected to our deeper purpose, even in the face of setbacks, and guide us toward a life of balance, fulfillment, and joy. The practice of setting goals in alignment with our values also helps us develop resilience. When we are deeply connected to the reasons behind our goals, we are more likely to stay committed to them, even when challenges arise. Rather than being discouraged by obstacles, we see them as part of the process, each one offering a lesson that brings us closer to our true purpose. This resilience doesn't mean that we won't face hardships or setbacks. It means that we have the strength to persevere, the wisdom to learn from our experiences, and the compassion to remain patient with ourselves and others as we navigate the journey. As we continue to set goals that reflect our deepest values, we begin to shift our approach to life. We move away from the constant striving for external validation or material success. And instead, we focus on what truly brings us peace and fulfillment. This shift in focus not only helps us overcome challenges more gracefully but also creates a sense of purpose that sustains us through life's inevitable ups and downs. In the end, Buddhism teaches us that the path to fulfillment is not linear, nor is it without its challenges. But by approaching each challenge as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to deepen our understanding, we can navigate life with resilience and wisdom. And when we set goals that reflect our core values, we create a life that is not only successful in the eyes of the world, but meaningful in the eyes of our true selves. It is through this balance of embracing challenges and setting meaningful goals that we cultivate the strength, peace, and fulfillment that Buddhism teaches us to seek. As we come to the end of this journey together, I hope these insights from Buddhist philosophy have sparked something within you. The teachings of Buddhism offer us a profound roadmap for transforming the way we approach life, transforming our mind, mastering our emotions, and building the resilience necessary to navigate the challenges we all face. When we apply these teachings, we begin to reshape our reality, creating a life filled with peace, purpose, and continuous growth. It all begins with the understanding that our thoughts shape who we are. What you think, you become. By choosing to cultivate positive thoughts, practicing emotional mastery, and nurturing resilience, you take control of your destiny. These practices, simple yet powerful, have the potential to change not just our mindset but our entire experience of life. The beauty of this path is that it's not about perfection, but about progress. About taking one mindful step at a time toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. I encourage you to reflect on what you've learned here and begin to apply these principles in your life. However small the steps may seem, remember, true transformation happens when we take consistent action. And that action begins with the choices we make in our thoughts and responses. I want to take a moment to thank you for watching and being part of this exploration into Buddhist philosophy. If this video resonated with you, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. How has Buddhist philosophy helped you overcome obstacles or shift your perspective? Your experiences and insights might just be the inspiration someone else needs to continue their own journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Delving deeper into the wisdom of Buddhism and its incredible capacity to guide us toward a life of peace, balance, and joy. Take a moment to reflect. Take a step forward. And let's continue walking this path of wisdom and peace. Thank you once again for being here, and I look forward to hearing about your journey.